cut over. All right. Boys, we're here. Episode 2 of the Open Ice Podcast. Of course, we have above me Mr. Arkham's Finest. As always, you can find him on Twitch. Over this way, this way, is Lone Wolf. Also, one of the best streamers on Twitch. Go follow him as always. And new to the scene, we have my good friend, my personal buddy, Mr. Average Warjo, and or Brett Wargo. How you doing, buddy?
Hey.
Okay, so this was a spur of the moment podcast, I think, because I was at work.
I think we decided it last night.
Y'all, I completely forgot about it, to be honest, because I went into work today and I had no recollection of last night because of FIFA. But I figured today what we can do is kind of go over some of the things we iterated in the first podcast a little bit, touch on some of the things we might have missed. And then, Arkham, I know you always have people in chat that really, they have good, valuable questions that they want to, have answered and stuff like that. So I figured at the end we can get them involved too.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if they have stuff, going on through topics and stuff, just make a note of it. We'll address it as we go through too. So we can take care of that. But I figured the first thing we would go over here is if this estimated date of the NHL were to happen on the 13th of next month, do you think, and we can start with Brett, since Brett actually works in the medical field here, I think it would be good to have his input on this. Do you think it would be prudent to have them actually start at this date, given obviously all the health issues that could be incurred from it? You see a lot of stuff going on with the NFL rather, with a bunch of the COVIDs testing positive, all these things going on with them. Do you think it would be safe for the NHL to actually start at that date?
What was the initial date they came out with?
January 13th, I believe. Well, it's estimated.
It was originally going to be New Year's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, that was the original concept. It was New Year's Day.
Yep.
The 13th.
Well, in the case of being inside the hospital where I'm at, it's a pretty small hospital, but I work for a very large hospital network that's covered through North Alabama and Tennessee. I'll say that. We just ended the season. Back in July?
Was it
July or August?
Yeah,
July
somewhere
or
around there.
August,
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere towards the end. As far as from a health standpoint, thanks to Thanksgiving gatherings and such, the spike down here anyway is getting pretty serious. We have ICUs completely full, and they're turning ORs into secondary ICUs. I don't think it's going to get any better now that we're getting into the holiday season. I feel that we're already getting the spike from Thanksgiving gatherings, and now that we're getting into Christmas, and everybody likes to go hard for New Year's, as always. I think it's right now, as far as a whole population in the United States, right now is not a good time, upcoming January, because the initial period for COVID is about 2 weeks after infection, and nobody's ever going to know if you're infected until it finally hits you 2 weeks later. So that initial gathering during those holidays, 2 weeks from X point that they get together, and 2 weeks out, things can change drastically.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but on the as far as the 2 week period there, I believe they actually changed that now to where it would
10
be.
days now.
Yeah, I think it's from
Some
10 to
cases,
14.
Not all cases.
Yeah, some are 10 days now.
Well, that's from the initial start of per se symptoms.
Okay.
Now, from my parents' aspect, all parent assets have ended up with COVID. They have been out of work now for almost 3 to 4 weeks. So individually, it's going to take havoc depending on who you are and how your body reacts and how big, per se, they call it the viral load. That's how much of the virus they've contained inside their body.
Mm.
And from there on out is going to determine how long it goes out. Now, as far as getting back to topic, as the NHL whole, I don't know if they're quarantining these players besides practice, and therefore I don't know if they're visiting their family over the break. It's all going to depend on what happens.
The big question is, I think, how they're going to manage having, because as far as I'm aware, it's going to be a full-fledged season, according to what they're estimating now. Okay, so if you have that big of a margin with that many teams playing at X amount of times, you're going to have a lot of travel. You're going to have a lot of intermingling between players and coaching staff and all these different things going on. Not only that, but they're saying that this whole Canadian, we touched on this last podcast about this Canadian division and how that's going to limit some of the, travel across into the United States. But even then, at that token, just looking at it, I don't think it would help all that much just because of how much traveling that they would have to do if you're going to have this full season.
Now, I guess a good question to back you up on that as far as travel. Did any of the international players leave the United States since the end of the season?
I have no idea, honestly.
I could imagine. I mean,
I think it's a good question.
Yeah,
That's a very valid question.
I want to say some of them did. Actually, you know what? I know for a fact that some of them did because obviously I'm a Preds fan and I follow these guys on Instagram. Johansson and Fabro, those guys are from Canada, the British Columbia area, and those guys were in their apartment that they own together up there, so they definitely left the States.
Okay.
I'm a Kings fan, and I think the Kobe went back to Slovenia, as far as I know. That's a small native country, but I mean, still, the whole world's being impacted.
no.
And Pancake, do we know if Evgeny or Crosby has left the Pens?
As far as I'm aware, I think Sid went back up to Cole Harbor for a time. As far as Evgeny goes,
Did he go back to Russia?
I would imagine he went back to his family at some point. But like I said,
I want to say that because Forsberg, he lives in Nashville. Obviously, they all live in Nashville, but some live together. But Arvidsson, I'm pretty sure he was back overseas, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other teams, players that are doing the same. So
yeah.
I'm just using these guys as examples.
So it's all going to come down to, I don't know what their COVID situation is in their said countries, but right now the United States is on an all-time high.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Which I've been thinking about this since the last podcast on how to play all of these games. I would take more of like an MLB approach and just play at empty stadiums. And instead of like staying there for one game in one night, make a series of it, like 3-4 games. Take a few days off, go travel to wherever you're playing next. Really, I think that would be the best approach for it.
So
But I guess
get essentially their
back to
games out of the way, and then travel to the next city on that team. Get the games for them out of the way for the season is essentially what you're implying.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
I just
you're
wanted to clarify.
I think, I guess to come back to the original question that you asked me, as far as start date of January 13th, especially with the holiday season and the new year coming up, I think it's pushing a little too early because we don't know what's going to happen up until this holiday season is completely over.
Right.
Yeah, Christmas is definitely. I think we're going to see a spike in cases after Christmas, obviously, because people are going to be traveling, people are going to be wanting to see family and everything like that. And yeah, I just feel like it's a little close too. Just given that, yeah, I think after Christmas there's going to be a spike in cases.
You're going to see more on New Year's. That's when you're going to see more because people aren't going to follow any kind of guidelines.
Oh,
Because look at it now. You had Thanksgiving. You had the initial 2 weeks of incubation time. We're at an all-time high now. Now it's gonna drop, and then once Christmas comes around,
jump.
It's gonna jump back up again. And I feel like, kind of like you said, New Year's is probably going to be the biggest.
New Year's gonna be a huge jump.
I agree with that. Now, continuing on with that, just for a little bit, because we don't want to beat a dead horse, right? With saying the same information on it, but
Yep.
with all this talk about a vaccine, like I said, since you're in this field, do you think? Because we've been hearing about this for a while, about them having this vaccine here, and they're only giving it out in limited, quantities as of the moment. Should one of these stick, right? How soon do you think it would be effective enough to the point where they can actually bring and do like a normalized season?
Well, here's the thing. Actually, just the other day, I was checking the work email, and the main hospital here in Huntsville, Alabama, which is Huntsville, Maine, is what we call it. That's the biggest hospital we have in our district.
That's the one you had me at whenever I visited, right?
Yeah, that was the big one that I was at. I'm at one of their smaller campuses now. It just work-wise, it worked out better that way. But they sent out emails to everybody, and they're trying to get our input on healthcare officials or workers about us taking the vaccine, whether yes, we agree, or no, why we don't agree. As far as the limited amount that is probably being shipped out, I think actually I just checked the internet not too long ago about this. It looks like the first rounds are coming out of Michigan. They're being trucked. The crazy thing about this vaccine is it has to stay at very, very low temperatures for it to be viable. We're talking negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Really?
So depending on, as long as the transport holds up, I was reading they were pretty much GPS tracking these things to keep an eye on the temperature. I feel like these vaccines are probably going to go out to probably the hospitals first, our healthcare workers.
That is what I've heard, yeah.
Probably some of the people that need it the most at the moment, as far as
Which
patients.
I think makes
gonna
sense.
Go to healthcare first. It's going to hospitals and healthcare first, 100%.
I agree with that. It should, I believe.
It's no doubt.
Now, as far as I'm not going to get on the logistics and politics on the vaccine. To each his own. But in regards to sports aspects, I don't know if they're going to push out the vaccine quick enough to even give to the sports aspect of in general. I don't know what their plan is after healthcare professionals. I don't know exactly what their plan is as far as pushing it out to who comes first come, first serve, or so say.
Right.
So as far as the vaccine given to sports players, it's hard to say at this moment.
Okay. The way I feel about it would be, I think they would be, I agree with you whenever you say it's too early. I think they should still hold off a bit and, see how the numbers look after New Year's and, all that. And I think the 13th is still too relatively early. I think they'd probably be better to wait till February, somewhere around there.
Actually, I'm sorry, I actually didn't answer your question, though. As far as how long it'll take if said vaccine is given to X amount of people, they're talking months.
Until they see a difference?
To see a difference.
Yeah, I think it's going to be months.
Because what it's called is when you have a vaccine, back when they came out with the flu vaccine years ago, what they're looking at is what they call mass immunity or mass herd immunity. So it's going to take months for people to get the vaccine, and if they do, it's going to take months for the community as far as the USA as in a whole. It's going to take months. I'm hoping it doesn't take years, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
Right.
I firmly believe in Fauci, where he says, probably maybe by the end of next year, we'll go back to somewhat normality. I kind of firmly believe in that. I think it'll take a while, truthfully. I mean, as much as we want hockey back, I mean, I would definitely agree with with Joe, where it's like, yeah, probably February, maybe. Maybe. It depends on like seeing how things go. Obviously, after New Year's and the holidays, kind of see like where we're at.
Even then,
Overall.
saying at the end of next year, I still think that's a little bit
That might be too soon too.
yeah, depending on how things go.
It might be 2022.
At this point, who the hell knows? I heard,
No,
I heard different
nobody.
articles saying that they don't want us to get away from masks now. They want it to be a permanent part of, the social structure now, just to prevent anything else that might happen. So,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It really is.
yeah.
We all.
Based on New York Times at the moment, they're saying right now trucks and cargo planes are packed with the first of nearly 3 million doses of the vaccine across the country. Uh, it says
And this is out in New York.
this is out of the New York Times that I'm looking at. It says Chief Operating Officer General Gustave Perna of the federal effort to develop the vaccine. 145 sets are to receive the vaccine on Monday, 425 on Tuesday, and 66 on Wednesday. And it says the first injections are expected to be given on Monday to high-risk healthcare workers.
I agree with that. I think they should do that. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at these people, they've been fighting this thing since day one. I mean, I don't think,
Yeah.
anybody else really deserves it more other than the people who obviously,
They're literally dealing with it on a daily basis.
And it says 5 of the first vaccinations will take place at the Department of Health and Human Services as a national ceremonial kickoff event scheduled at George Washington University Hospital.
GWU, man.
hell yeah, brother.
So I mean, they're pushing it out faster than I thought they would.
All right. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Ultimately what happens come closer to January. But I think we're all in agreement that they should wait a little bit.
Yeah.
As much as we want hockey back.
As much as we want hockey back, I think it's better to wait it out, to be
Boy,
honest.
would I love hockey back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so would we all. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised college football is still going on down here.
Yeah, it's like, damn, that's crazy to me. I mean, it's like, if they waited, like, so long, like, would they even do the season at this point? Because by the time that, if they did bring the season back, it'd be like playoffs, or back to start of next season.
Well, remember back in 2013? I mean, it was for a whole different reason, but they had the NHL lockdown in 2013.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I mean, honestly, depending on how bad it gets, we could end up in another health lockdown at this point.
Which would suck.
Nobody would be playing anything.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing too. You have states that are already on lockdown. Pennsylvania is about to be on full. I know California already is.
California is already on full lockdown. We're already on full lockdown.
You have these
for how
things being implemented, right? So even if you were to start the season and you have a team, say, fly to LA and play in an empty Staples Center, then say, the Sharks go down to play LA, then they leave to come play Pittsburgh, right? You have to be on a 2-week quarantine then. So already there you have delays in games.
You would
Right.
have to be on a quarantine,
So,
So PPGA Paints Arena is not going to push anything out at this point.
no. So already there you're going to have issues with rescheduling games already,
It's so
You
tough.
see, like this is what they did with the excuse me, with the MLB. So Toronto was on full lockdown. They weren't allowing anybody in, weren't allowing anybody out. So they had to move Toronto down to, I believe, Buffalo, to a minor league stadium. That's where they played their home games. So, if I was the NHL, I would do the same thing with the California teams. Make them play in like minor league stadiums or, outdoor stadiums. Might as well do that. I mean, make it fun for everybody while you can.
I did hear
Might
talks
as well.
about outdoor stadiums. Yeah.
play at Dodger Stadium or play at Angel Stadium over here. For
I wouldn't
us.
even play in California. I wouldn't.
No,
It's full
California's
lockdown.
California's a
Move it
war
out.
zone right now. It's a war zone right here, right now.
I believe it.
It's awful.
My buddy in Arizona, I think they said they're on lockdown too at this moment. I don't know what my governor's going to do in the state of Alabama. I mean, we call her Meemaw Ivy. I mean, she's a grandmother. At this point, I'm surprised we're not locked down yet.
Well, Pennsylvania is not on full, but with everything given, I know Governor Wolf got tested for positive for COVID, and then they said, hey, he doesn't have it, and now we're locking shit down again. So it's like, I have no idea what the hell's going to happen here,
I don't know if you guys are big into the minor league type of hockey, but Pancake's well aware. I was supposed to get him to a game pre-COVID lockdown. We have the Huntsville Havocs Southern Professional Hockey League. Pretty damn good team, but they're set to start actually in January too. So I'll be surprised if something happens or something doesn't happen.
I had like tickets to 2 NHL games I couldn't go to because of COVID. It's unfortunate.
Fighter Jet in my chat says, what is going to happen to people with season ticket holders for the teams? Well, I'm essentially going to...
They should probably get refunded.
That's what I would assume. They probably just get refunded for...
Get refunded for the season.
No, they probably won't refund them. They'll probably just reserve it for whenever they do start the season up.
Like a normalized season.
That's what they'll do.
Yeah.
I mean, you already paid for it. You might as well hold on to it.
Yeah.
They just won't do like a season ticket sale for whenever season starts up.
They'll do one of the two,
Yep.
But yeah, to answer your question, that's probably what they'll do. They're either going to do the refund or they're just going to hold them until the next normalized season in play.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Let's move on to the next thing, which is we talked about a little bit, like I said again last podcast, but the future of EA and NHL. So my main question here to pose to you gentlemen is, what is your vision of the future with Chell? Okay, and then no, let me pose it, and then if you still play fifth, you can. But what do you think they can do to make it to the point where everybody's gonna like it?
But I don't know. Listen to the community.
I got a good answer for you. Are you ready for this one?
Listen to the community for one. Go ahead.
Don't make the fucking game next year.
Yeah, don't make the
Wait
game.
until you have everything perfect.
Take a year off.
I shouldn't say perfect. Don't release it until you are confident enough in your game. Because at this point, they're just sending shit out the same as last year with a few cosmetics. They're like, hey,
it's literally copy paste.
Here's this game, different title, a new move. There you go. Have fun with the cross crease and the dog shit goalies. We'll see you guys next year.
Essentially, that's what it is.
Here's a few updates for you.
From a goalie standpoint, you couldn't be any more right.
I mean, for starters, what they can do is listen to the fucking community, for fuck's sakes. I mean, have a community manager that actually responds to people and actually takes feedback, because, you got Clappy, who's a new community manager, and no disrespect to him at all, but it's just like, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't respond to people. Like, there's tons of people that have concerns. You got to listen to them. I mean, I have concerns, and it seems like our voices don't matter. It doesn't really matter what they're going to do, because what they're going to do is what is going to make them the most money. And I said this on my...
I got a scenario for you. Did you buy the game?
Yes.
That's all they need.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care.
Yes. They already got what they wanted.
But as I was going to say, though, so I made this point on my stream earlier, where it's like, I compare NHL to Call of Duty right now in a way, because Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War, as I call it, Cold Sore, that game has got one big problem, and that's skill-based matchmaking. And the thing with skill-based matchmaking is that the reason why they do it is because they want the shitty players, the noobs, to basically have a good experience and feel like they're going to do good in the game, which is going to make them want to keep playing and spend more money on like cosmetics, battle pass, etc. And in my opinion, I feel like Chell's kind of going down a similar route. Or, I mean, I could be wrong. You never know. But it's like you enable the bad people. Like, twice on my stream today, I have a 89 overall team. I had all base gold teams able to hang with my team and compete with me. And these are people that hardly grind the game, hardly spend money, And it's like you got those guys able to compete with me, and all of a sudden they feel enabled. Like, oh wow, I'm actually not doing too bad. I should keep playing. I should spend more money on packs. You know, that's kind of what I feel like is Chell's problem in a way.
Not to get off topic, but Fighter Jet says, if hockey happens, what do you think the new team will do? Listen, that's always hard to say with an expansion team. I mean, you look at the Knights when the Knights came in. They got to the Cup final, which I don't think anybody expected them to make playoffs. So, as far if you're asking about playing ability, we don't even know their team yet. We haven't gotten to that point. So, we can't really make an assumption on that. Or if you're asking about what we think of the actual like name, location, I think it's good for Seattle. I think Seattle deserves it, to be honest. I think it's going to be interesting to see how the population of Seattle reacts to it. And yeah, that's my take on it. But you guys go ahead.
By the way, Persevere in my chat said Clappy is crappy, so
I mean,
just had to say that.
I guess to follow up on that, I mean, at this point, with all this COVID going on, there's not even going to be a release of a new team right now. No way. I mean, they'll be lucky if they even get a chance to sneak in 2021.
Well, as of right now, I mean, they have it implemented for the Kraken to be there, but you know that who's to say that will come through because we don't even know if there's going to be a season yet. You know, so like I said, I think that's all up in the air. It's all angel dust at this point.
Unfortunately, 2020 has took a turn for the worse for everybody, all sports. So I'll be surprised if the Kraken even get off their feet in 2021 until things kind of come around.
Yeah. Yeah, like Markham said, anybody in my chat, his chat, Wolf, I don't even know if you're streaming, but
Nope.
Okay. Well, in our
Nobody
chats,
watches me anyway.
No, our chats.
watch that shit. But anybody in our streams, if you have a question, anything like that, feel free to throw it in. We'll answer it to the best of our ability in a timely manner. But going back to, what I asked, I think Wolf is, or what Arkham said is absolutely correct. I think you really need to delve into the opinions of your fan base and then work on things from there. Because if you don't, what's the point of having a fucking community, right?
If I could just, real quick. It's the same going back to Call of Duty again, where it's like, you've got like the long time hardcore fan base, like those who like grind COD or grind Chell like religiously every year. Like you got your long time hardcore fan base. Like, it's like you're gonna lose that fan base if you don't address the problems. Like for example, a guy like myself. I mean, who knows how much longer I'm gonna be playing Chell? I mean, if it keeps going down this path, it's just like I don't know what's gonna happen. Gaming has just changed a lot.
Yeah.
It's not what it used to be.
Why do you think I haven't played Hut in 3 years?
Because it's garbage.
That's putting it lightly.
But I agree with Wolf.
Very
100%,
lightly.
though. This 21 was literally a copy and paste with a few new cosmetic features. That's literally what it was. It's the same. That's really what it is. I was just saying I agree with Wolf.
Past 3 or 4 years has been a copy and paste.
Yeah, I was going to say 20 was exactly the same thing as 19. 19 was essentially the same as 18.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's just slowly but surely little improvements.
You get little things you can apply to your...
We need to look at a little bit of nostalgia. What year was good?
17.
13, 14.
To me,
Just in between that range, 14 to 17?
genuinely, to me,
13 to 17.
the last good game was genuinely 17 to me.
Okay.
18 was probably one of the worst.
I gotta say 16. 16 was the last genuinely good game. My favorites of all time, I gotta agree with Wolf. I gotta say 13.
13 was very good.
Yep. See, that's what they need to bring back in the World of Chell. I mean, don't get me wrong, you have all kinds of customizable options here. But in 13, you could change the flex of your stick, the blade curve, the type of blade that you have in your skates, even. It's
Yeah.
they need to bring that back for sure. Cause like, imagine having an enforcer with the curve on his stick as a sniper. He's probably not gonna shoot like a sniper, but just imagine.
Oh hell no, there's no way.
Wait, not.
Can you imagine Wolfie just coming down and taking clappers like he does now, just with that curved fucking blade?
Yeah, he already does.
Yeah, it's nasty, man. It's dirty.
I think they should bring back that element of you getting skill points like FIFA does to a point, and bringing that back to Chell, because that was the biggest thing people bitched about day one of them having these preset builds, and
I want to be able to spend shit on what I want to go toward.
right. Otherwise, it's not even your own pro. Then you take
No, not at all.
the making yourself aspect into it and how you want your player to be out of it. So what's the point then?
Yeah, I feel like the pre-builds are like, here, you're gonna play exactly like, say, a power forward. You're gonna play like whoever the fuck is labeled as a power forward in the league.
Like
Whenever,
Reeves
like,
or something like that.
Yeah, like a Ryan Reeves, and whenever really you just want to be a big guy and be able to shoot like Ovechkin. Because let's be honest, Ovechkin, he's gonna lay the hit on you no matter what, and he's gonna snipe it no matter what. So he's an all-around player, obviously. But these pre-builds, you're gonna stick to one thing, whether it's hitting, shooting, or
That's debatable.
being a playmaker.
That's debatable.
I'm a good example. I'm a good example of that.
I'm gonna hold off on the whole Ovechkin comment, but
We have a question in my chat from Mr. Josh Moore, one of my longtime mods, good friend of mine. He asks, do you think 22 will be a huge improvement? I think this game is clearly not improved because of IRL events and console transition. They could be spending way more time for next one.
let's put it this way. The NHL franchise as it is currently, like we've already stated, is a copy and paste franchise. So regardless of whether it being a next-gen game on a new console or anything like that, the programming is going to be the same. The skating might be upgraded a hair or two. But other than that, the passing is probably going to still be garbage. You have all these different things that need to be fixed and implemented, but they're not going to do it. They might say they will. They might release articles and trailers and all these different things about what they're going to upgrade and do differently, but it's not going to happen. That's what they promised us with 21. That's what they promised us with 20. I don't see it happening.
They promise all this shit and they don't do it. It's
Keep it
just
a buck with you.
It's just a scam to buy the game.
Yeah.
It
You
doesn't.
know, I
It
think
doesn't matter if it's going to be a next gen or not. The past 4 years have been a copy and paste game, like these guys have said. So I'm not buying it. The whole new gen console, what that game's going to be, it's going to be the same thing, just upgraded graphics. That's all you're getting.
Upgrade graphics and no wait time.
That's all it's gonna be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I,
That's what I was
I
making
think
I'd like to hold out hope and say that it's not going to be that way. I think that's part of all of us as NHL fans. We want to believe deep down inside that they are going to change it, that they are going to finally fucking listen to us and do what we want, at least some of the things we want, right? It's like we're talking about a politician, essentially. And that's what EA is. You want them to do this thing that they say they're going to do, but they never fucking do it. And, that's the heartbreaking part, is because every year we get our hopes up,
Oh, we always do every year.
And
My
not to blame it on COVID by any means, because like you said, they've copy and pasted the past 4 years. But I'm sure all the cuts of people being sent home that work at these, who knows? I don't know if they do it in an office or big ass building or whatever the case where they make these.
Headquarters in Vancouver.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm sure majority of those people were sent home as
Which
far as
is-
social distancing. So what they had to do is that it twist their wrist, and they were forced to per se copy and paste and force the game out because what else are we going to do over COVID social distancing? They want people to buy the money, spend the money, play the game. Once again,
Yeah.
I guess that's a money scheme of some sort.
They'll do anything to please their shareholders, dude. That's the same thing with
yeah.
Call of Duty and Activision. They do anything to fucking please them, dude. It's ridiculous. It brings up a good point because it's like, yeah. Now here's the thing. It's like, if you obviously, I'm pretty sure all you guys know, but if you didn't know, Treyarch was put onto the project for Cold War, like months before the game was released because Sledgehammer dropped the ball. They were fired from the project. They were originally developing the game this year, so Treyarch got put on the spot with like months before release, So they had to pick up the pieces and basically essentially rush out Cold War. And that game definitely, in my opinion, should have been delayed. Because it has the aspects of a great Call of Duty, but things with skill-based matchmaking and lack of content just really bad. But the thing is like, can you really give EA the benefit of the doubt of COVID? Because they're the only ones who make it, and they've had time ever since they released 20, to make that game copy and paste.
Oh,
You can't really,
absolutely, they had
can't
time.
really give them that benefit of the doubt. Like they weren't put into a situation like Treyarch was, and everybody's like saying like, "Oh, like cut Treyarch some slack," because they were put into a project like months before release.
I missed his message, but Shoe Swag on Max said that his favorite game, I believe, was 17. So
17 was a good game.
I agree with that. 17 was good, but I'm standing
My
by my
opinion.
NHL 13.
For sure.
Now, Pancake, I don't know if this is on the talk list of what we're discussing, but since we're talking about the game, I wanted to bring up Be a Pro this year.
Love it. It's great.
Do you guys like it?
I love it.
I think it's okay.
I think it's a good start. I mean, I like it, but Madden's been doing this Be a Pro thing for a long time, and I think it's a great step up as far as giving some variety to the game. I'm sure we've all played Be a Pro so far. Of course, I've noticed it's a lot of repeat as far as the way things are discussed between the player, the coach,
Yes.
the in-game, during game talking to the coach. I like that they brought it in, but I feel like they could go a little bit farther with it.
Here's the thing.
It's a start.
Yeah, it's a start to building onto that. So when you have something that you implement that's new into a game mode that, you want to make more lifelike for a Be a Pro mode, you can't expect too much going right out of the gate. So you look at NBA, right? NBA, I think, is the pinnacle of having the combination of the gameplay experience intermingled with a off-court or off ice experience. And I think they're trying to follow suit with that a little bit. The problem with it is, for the longest time, me playing Be a Pro myself, when I simulate games, you would always get that demotion within 3 to 5 games, regardless of how you perform, regardless of what you do, even if you intervene. You would always have it. Now they take that away. So they take away the penalty for simulating a couple games. But now you have all these cut scenes that they implement into it, and it takes forever to get into another game now. So for me personally, I wish you could somehow change and fix that, because I can simulate a given week within maybe 8 or 9 games. I have 20 cutscenes with Panarin, over the same stuff over and over again. So that's the only real issue I have with it. Other than that, I like the new dynamics to it. I like, how the coach actually talks to you. You can talk to your GM, different things like that. So that's my piece.
Shoe Swagging in your chat, I agree with what he said. He says, I wish they would make a My Rink, basically like how 2K has My Park, but it's never going to happen. I agree. Like whenever they first introduced in World of Chell the outdoor stuff, that's what I was under the impression of, was like you're going to be, I wouldn't say walking around rink to rink like you do in 2K, but like I would say like an overhead view of choosing like if you want to do like 2v2 or 3v3, 1v1, that kind of thing. That would be cool to see implemented into next year's, but it's obviously never going to happen. 'Cause I feel like that would require too much effort and money for them to put into the game. But
because they don't make enough already on packs.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's definitely a good concept, and I've wanted that for a few years. So I'm glad somebody else other than myself wants something like that.
We definitely do.
I could see them trying to implement it. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, try.
But that's the whole part coming back to listening to the community.
Yep.
They don't do it. Cluppy and all the community managers, they're essentially the punching bag for EA. They're the one who takes all the criticism. They're the ones who just pretty much take in all this negative feedback and they don't really listen, obviously. So in my opinion, they're kind of like puppets. In my opinion,
Yeah,
they don't.
like also like in the My Club, like 2K, you can literally just go into the court and shoot around with your teammates or your friends. So feel like you should be able to do that in NHL. It's just like little cosmetic things like that that I. It's not like my biggest gripe, but it would be cool to see.
Well,
Obviously, my biggest gripe is everybody else, the cross crease, the goalies, everything like that.
They did put
I think
in
also-
four clubs I'm sorry, Brett, I don't mean to cut you off, but they did implement a practice mode now with at least EASHL, which I do think is neat, but they need to expand on it a little bit because you can only go in, it's like a free skate session essentially. But I wish you could do certain, if you have defensemen that you want to get used to say a 3-on-2 rush or a 3-on-1, have that scenario pre-built into the mode. That way you can run that, right? But instead of this free skate thing. But that's all I wanted to say.
We have Brian in my chat saying, I wish that they do something for WWE 2K series, like NBA 2K, like My Park or something, NHL like that. We're literally just discussing that right now, Brian. So definitely, we definitely all want to see it in the game.
What were you gonna say, Brett?
What I was gonna say was going off of you when you're talking about my clubs. I mean, I've used it already. I think it's great that they incorporated that you can scrimmage and also practice with your my club team because they didn't have that in the past, as far as I remember. But I could be totally wrong about that. But I do like the aspect that you can, like Pancake was saying, if you just want to get used to a new player and just kind of see how they feel, you can scrimmage your club team against computers and just work on things. I think that's great that you're able to do that now.
I agree.
Indeed.
But yeah, as far as like the overall main question, as you said, where it's like, your future with EA, I mean, yeah, it's kind of going back to the last podcast. You kind of hope that 2K kind of comes into the picture. I mean, because who knows how much longer any of us will be on EA. I mean, if this keeps up, I mean, my future's it's definitely unknown right now.
Let's talk about the servers.
Oh yeah, I could go on. I could go off.
Oh man, especially
go
today.
I can go off on the fucking servers. But I will say that 100% for me, at least, the servers, in my opinion, feel improved because I'm getting consistent 20 ping on West Coast. Ping was a huge problem for me last year as a Ultimate Team player. The ping was constantly annoying. Like ping, towards this most of the part of the time, I would get 90 to 100 ping. It's unplayable. It's terrible. You can't do it. But now it's like this year, I'm getting pretty much 20, 30 ping all day long, which is phenomenal. It's way better. But overall, my team does not feel like it's on 20 ping, despite the load.
Not at all.
But that's just my take.
Playing LG with Pancake this past year, good first experience. I enjoyed it. It just took up too much time. Being in the medical field, I don't have the time to put into that. But I remember games that you'd play, we're East Coast and you play teams that are on the West Coast. But every time their home team on the West Coast, our ping was through the roof. Do you guys think they need to make some mutual servers that kind of meets in the middle? That way it kind of serves everybody?
Peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer.
I think peer-to-peer, yeah.
Bring back peer-to-peer for fuck's sakes. Ditch the damn servers. They're useless. Nobody likes them.
I think with like club and drop-ins and stuff like that, if you're gonna do peer-to-peer, pick whoever has the best ping on each team. That's gonna be your best bet. I'm not sure how they would implement that with the rest, but to me that just makes sense. But it might be more complex than that.
I don't think they're ever gonna ditch the servers, though. I feel like that's always gonna be a thing. Unfortunately, the thing is like, how can they improve on it? But I don't think they'll ever just come out one day and be like, okay, we're done with the servers. We're going back to peer-to-peer. Like, I don't see that.
Yeah, I think that would be a little bit out of reach at this point. I just don't. Given the lack of effort over the past couple years,
Nah.
I mean, they can't even make a decent game, for God's sake.
Yeah,
Well,
let alone put in work on the servers.
They're literally incompetent, dude. It's unbelievable. There's so many people in that team that deserves to be fired. In my opinion, Rammer being one of them, he should have been fired like 2-3 games ago. Like, the game's been bad for so long. It's no disrespect to Rammer. I mean, it's just like just not good at his job. You know, they're not good at. You know, the game has been bad for years. It's getting worse every year, in my opinion. It's not improving, and everybody's pissed off. Nobody wants servers anymore. Some of that development team and that staff should have been long fired. It's just not working out.
I got a topic we can talk about.
Ooh, bring.
How's everybody thinking about the World Juniors?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I haven't even been focusing on any of it, to be honest.
Neither have I.
I've been watching a few, like, I'll be scrolling through YouTube, you know, and then I'll see a few mic'd up moments from USA's practices. And, I mean, yeah, it's a big deal to those kids, but they look like they're having the time of their life right now. Like, in the middle of everything going on, like, you just watch it, you couldn't tell that there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
They're just having so much fun. And
That's
seeing that
refreshing.
makes me happy.
Sorry to backtrack, but I have a follow up from Brian on the NHL or Chell discussion. So he says that adds so much value to the game, personal experience as a pro in the NHL. I mean, how many times do you play NHL if you don't grind HUT? You play it a few times and you're done pretty much. The game needs replay value.
That depends, because me personally, we covered this last podcast, but there's a lot of people like me that don't even really touch HUT. We play EASHL for the better part of the entire year, right? So given that aspect,
That's replay value.
Yeah, given that aspect on the flip side of the coin where you don't play HUT, there's a lot of enjoyment in that.
In World of Chell.
But then that goes back to the gameplay issues where it coincides with HUT and the ASHL, right? So that's where you really find that common ground of issues. But, I mean, as far as replay value goes and all that, I think if you get away from the grind of HUT a little bit, devote a little bit of time to EASHL, you'll find that there is some replay value in it. But not like there was years past, so...
Yeah, good point.
If I'm wrong on that, you guys correct me, but that's just...
I mean, if I'm not playing HUT, I'm playing World of Chell, plain and simple, so that's kind of always where I fall back on to if HUT's bad, which, in my opinion, I'm playing a lot more HUT than I did last year, so, I mean, in my opinion, HUT's not as... I mean, it's still bad, but, like, I'm enjoying the grind again. But if HUT was to go, like, to shit again, I would just go to World of Chell and just play with you guys. It's like, and I know I can fall back on that for content if HUT is dumpster fire still.
Yeah. That's like these guys that you see, I'm not shitting on anybody here, but it amazes me now that you see some of these guys like Deke Slayer, Bacon, even Nasher at times doing Be a Pro modes and like these kind of helter-skelter off the wall things that they don't normally do, like HUT or ESHL or those two big modes, right? You see them doing these other things, and it's kind of refreshing to the point where that's giving those modes a little bit more exposure as opposed to people constantly going on and on about HUT. So I think that's a good thing in an aspect of it, you know.
HUT's what gets views. I mean, the thing is with that is like, if you're good at the game, you will get views. If you're not good at the game, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but being good at the game is what gets views.
That in pulling packs.
Yeah, that's the stuff that gets views. Like, me, I'm average. I'd say, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it's like, I'd consider myself above average at Chell. I wouldn't say I'm amazing. I mean, I feel like my talent's kind of dropped off a little bit, but it's like, yeah, I don't consider myself to be like elite. Like, if I was playing HUT champs every weekend and getting like top 50, like that would get me views. Like, but I play HUT very casually. I just play it for fun, and it's like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that gets views right now. It's HUT. That's what everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to watch the rage. Everybody wants to watch the packs. Look, that's the point.
I guess I got a question about that. I mean, I'm not a HUT player by any means, but I guess just from an outside standpoint, do you think people are they just got bored of watching ESHL, just
No.
players just constantly playing, and they just switched to BioPro and Hut just to give a different perspective?
In what capacity are you speaking? Are you talking about people who have always watched EASHL, or are you talking about people who have streamed EASHL like me and then switching to a different game mode?
I guess you could go off of both of them, really.
Given all the time we spend on Twitch and streaming and things like this, I think Hut was always really the big mode, because people wanted to see, they were intrigued by how people got the teams they did, and they wanted, like Arkham said, they wanted to see the rage, they wanted to see different emotions coming out with the game and that, and then they wanted to see ultimately just, people pulling packs. So you don't have a lot of that in the EASHL unless you're a dynamic streamer, where you have, like, perfect example, Deke Slayer. Deke throws a lot of emotion into any game mode he plays, and that's what draws people in. And you can take that same emotion and put that into people who get big numbers streaming Hut. So that's I don't know if I answered your question in quite the right way, but I feel like, it
Because
equates.
it just depends on the people.
It depends. Yeah, it depends on what people want to watch, too. You got to take that into consideration as well. But Hut has always been,
That's the big mode. It's EA's cash cow. I mean, that's what gets them the money. That's what gets the views on Twitch. Like, it's Hut.
Does me being a dick to people count as emotion?
I definitely think it does.
in your own way, yes.
Well, you know what? I was gonna bring up a
Go ahead.
scenario from earlier. Politics witnessed. I was playing Rivals.
Was this on your stream that I missed?
Yes, it was.
Oh man.
I had a kid that was just doing nothing but cross crease, holding on the backhand. It being invincible.
Welcome to
in
the
that
meta of
sense.
this game, dude.
And he only beat me by one. But I did say that I wish Santa would shit down his chimney and put reindeer shit in his stockings and more things of that matter.
I thought it was going to be worse than that, to be honest.
I thought it was gonna be
it gets
way
worse.
worse.
It's worse. I wasn't gonna say what I fully said, but I'll keep it friendly. That was just
That was just the start.
yeah.
That's being,
that was
that's being,
started
that's being
off
nice. That's being nice.
especially for me.
Yeah,
Here's a
that's
good
all.
question, actually. What do you guys think on 21 of the new ranking system about RP? What are y'all's take on what they did this year?
It's no different.
Like in World of Chill, like with
No.
Diamond and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
No different.
It's no different. You just get a shiny badge.
That's
Yeah,
literally all it
well,
is.
it is. I mean, it'd be cool if they gave you. Actually, you know what? It's not the same this year because they actually give you different rewards now when you rank up.
Yeah, the
They give
rewards.
you-
are
They
Either-
give you, they give you diamond bags now for whenever you hit diamond, platinum. They didn't
Which
do that before.
are all cosmetics.
You also get
No,
qualified.
but that's all that there is in World of Shell. You don't get anything else.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Unless you want the shitty packs that they give you for Hut that are lone players.
What was your thing, Wolfie? You were gonna say you were gonna continue with story time because I wanted to hear this.
Oh no, I'm not getting into how bad it got.
It's not getting into specifics.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just leaving
Yeah,
that.
I'm not gonna get too deep into that.
Ooh.
My main point there was I was just wanting to know if being a dick is showing emotion because
Yeah,
I feel like there's a difference.
I mean,
there.
I think it shows emotion.
yeah. I'd
mean,
be
it's
inclined to agree.
I mean,
How you
Gates,
feel?
you guys better be ready. I'm gonna be a dick to you guys now. I'm just kidding.
And when have you
That's
not
alright.
been?
I was gonna say, am I already a dick to you guys and not knowing it, or what?
No.
No.
Quite the contrary.
Sometimes I rage a little bit and I get off early. Sometimes,
I'm drinking out of a 2-liter because I'm too goddamn lazy to go get a cup.
Hey, it's fair enough,
There you
man.
There you go.
Sometimes whenever I hop off early, I'm like, man, those guys probably think I'm mad at them.
You thought
I'm gonna go to bed anyway.
you thought I was mad at you that one night when you
I
left
did.
early.
I was like,
No,
man,
I
he's probably thinking I'm pissed. I mean, I was pissed, but not at him. For sure.
Yeah.
I think the first night that me and Wolf played together in World of Chell, I honestly thought you were pissed at me, Wolf, for some reason, because you like dipped, you didn't say a word, and it was like the first time we played together, so I was like, oh god, he probably hates my guts.
No.
Here we
What
are.
was the first time? Was it like was it an LG game?
No, fuck. I think, I want to say, it was either Bish or,
It was Bish.
I think it was Bish
that's
that
what
got
it
us together. We were playing sixes,
Yeah.
I think.
Let's go, baby, another one.
No. I usually, if I'm pissed at somebody, I'm more than likely gonna tell you before I dip, unless it's like one of my
You tell
my
me.
close IRL friends. Then I'm gonna be like, I'll just dip. They'll know that I'm mad. But if it's somebody online, I'm gonna be like, hey, that was pretty fucking dumb what you did, and I'm gonna let you know about it, and then I'm gonna leave.
You usually tell me you're going offline. Like, I'm pretty fucking pissed off. I'm gonna get off.
Yeah.
Well, that's another guy, man, that, you know, Chell royally pissed off, too, is Bish. Bish never even
That's
touches
true.
the game anymore.
Yeah, you never see Bish anymore. Like,
Mhm.
I
I don't
like
see Bish. I don't see T. Fuck.
the game
What
has
was
set
his
off a
name?
lot of people.
His name's like Johnny V now.
Johnny V
He's
one
friends-
timer.
No, he's friends with Filthy.
Mm.
I used to play Fortnite with him all the time. He's actually one of the first guys I met on Twitch. Can't remember his name.
Guy on
Yeah.
couch in my chat says Chell is broken this year. That's 100% fact.
Yep.
Amen.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
I'm sorry, what?
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah. No, guy on couch said Chell's broken this year.
Black screen during penalty shots. Actually, there was a game earlier. I was doing drop-ins while Arkham was doing club threes because I didn't want to play Hut, and it literally kept skipping like before the puck drop. They were T-posing and like hitting each other at center ice, and then they would like loop back, and then they'd do it again, loop back. I was like, what the fuck is going on here, man? This is weird. And finally, I just quit. I was like, I'm not gonna sit here and watch these two bump faces the entire time.
Shoe Swag on Max says, do you think the game is too defensive this year? Like less offensive chances in World of Chell? Yes and
Yes and
no.
no. I was gonna say not really, but kinda.
I don't think it's more defensive. I think, if anything, it's an offensive game. And I think last year was to the point where, you know, we can say it over and over again. One-timers are the end-all, be-all, end-all in the game. And, you know, even defense in general, man, you can't even essentially block a shot on your own in World of Chell without it bouncing off 50 other goddamn things. Right. There's no...
Or taking a penalty.
Or taking a penalty,
Yeah.
yeah. There's no give and take to that. So I think essentially it's pretty much 90% offense, and maybe a sliver of that 10% is, you know, sheer luck. So
I've
I
said
will
it on
say
my...
the goalie controls this year. I've only played a few games in net. I usually don't play net, but I feel like the controls this year are a lot better than years previous. I will say that.
the controls to goalie, I think, are decent, but the animations are what...
Animations are
The
horrible.
animations are ridiculous.
I haven't had animations yet, honestly.
Oh, wait.
Then again,
Wait till you do.
So,
I'm not saying I'm main and goalie now. Let's hold up there. I'm a center main. We all
mean-
know this.
I'm a main goalie myself. I started on 20, and I proceeded to continue into 21. And as far as the animations, the amount of times that I've tried any desperation saves or anything, that the game is so glitchy that you end up freezing in a desperation save, and you're just clicking all these buttons trying to figure out how the hell to get back up. It's just there's still a lot of things they need to work on as far as goalie animations.
They're terrible.
I mean, as far as last year's, I think, I don't know, I could be wrong about this too, but in 20 compared to 21, as far as the spread eagle on the stomach, it looks like they roped it into also another desperation save, just flicking the right stick down. Because it used to be, and it still is, pressing X and holding down on the left trigger, or I'm sorry, left stick. And I've noticed that trying to do that desperation save, and using the right stick down only, the goalie just glitches completely through the net, and you're not going to save anything like that.
Yeah, the animations are ridiculous.
I don't know why they added the whole animation on the right stick. They could have just kept it with the X button if you're playing Xbox, and left thumbstick down. But adding that second one, because most people when they play goalie, they use the right stick for their slides. But sometimes people get trigger happy with their sticks, and I try to go slide left or right, and I end up doing the spread eagle in the stomach on accident, and it's like that's not what I wanted to do.
That's not what I want.
I found, and I know you're more well versed in goalie because you've been playing it, for the past year and a half, 2 years. But in my experience, you have to really limit the amount, especially in World of Chell, when we do this. Sliding anymore is not. You have to do it in particular circumstances. Okay, so you can't always slide. Only the reason for that is because you can't expect him to slide the whole way over there and then you gradually stop where you want him to, because he's just gonna it goes back to the animations, he's just gonna go. So I only particularly slide whenever I visually see the puck going for like a cross crease or something, right? But even then, I can't really answer on the issue as to why he goes down in the spread eagle. That's programming.
It's just something they added.
Yeah, it might be the programming in it. I have no idea. You might be accidentally going too far down instead of over with your thumb. I have no idea, but that's a whole different issue.
Listen, I'll call myself out on this. I'm guilty as charged for using the right stick. It's just how I play.
Well, you have.
And yes,
I found that a lot of the issues that I had were because of that too. I was sliding way too much instead of using the precision movement, and taking my time with it instead of sliding left and right, flopping like a fish on the goddamn deck.
Here's another good addition to the whole goalie thing that I'm pretty sure all three of you could probably add your 2 cents into. As far as this year's shot box on a goalie, do you think it has improved or worsened per se?
I'll be honest, I haven't noticed a difference. Honestly, it might be slightly better, but
not too noticeably. Yeah,
I don't think I've noticeably noticed anything either. Kind of have a repeat question in my chat from Guy on the Couch. Of course, we already touched on this, but we could always just quickly touch on it again. Is there any chance that someone else makes an NHL game in the near future? And that's very obvious that we hope that 2K joins the mix.
I think 2K would be the best one.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're hoping for.
If another company jumps in, I think we all hope it's 2K instead of any other, developer at that point.
I got a good topic.
Go ahead.
On the topic of another company making another NHL game. In the past, I know Xbox at least had the 3v3 NHL Arcade, which they implemented, obviously.
Mm.
What if you get something like, say, NBA Street or NFL Street? That one of those games where maybe you could choose whether you're playing like inline or out, like on ice with concrete walls next to you. I mean, to me, that would be pretty tight. And like no rules. It'd be a little gruesome, honestly, if it was me making it. I'd be like hitting people with a stick, no penalty, nothing like that.
To that point, you're talking about like essentially making a mini mode, like NHL Hits wise kind of deal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
yeah, he just put it in my chat. NHL Hits.
Here's
2K would make that money.
Here's the thing with that. If you're talking about that like kind of streetwise play, they already did that with FIFA. They did it with Volta Football and FIFA. So it's not a stretch to say they can't put that in Chell. But once again, people can say, "Hey, we want this, we want that. Why don't you put this mini mode in like you did with FIFA?" But here's the thing: NHL doesn't make the big cash like FIFA does. So why the hell would they?
No, FIFA makes so much money. It's insane. They're one of the higher end EA games. We're one of the lower end EA games.
No. We are the lower end EA game.
Are we technically the worst?
I would definitely say we are.
Yep. I
There's
think
nothing else worse
NHL has
than
got to
a
be the
game.
lowest budgeted EA game. At least in the sports realm, yeah.
That makes sense then. Yeah, Madden's doing better. God damn.
Golf does better.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
I don't blame them. Golf's fun. I like I like golf.
Well, EA hasn't had a golf title since what? Fucking Rory McIlroy, I think, and that was in what,
Yeah.
2015?
McIlroy.
Was that 2015 when that game released?
Yeah, it was somewhere around there.
2015, 2016, maybe.
Probably. Sounds about right. And then obviously because EA stopped making NBA, points out guys on the couch. Yeah, we're definitely bottom of the barrel, and it sucks to say that. And our community is toxic as hell. I mean, like I said many times, like I'm kind of embarrassed to be part of this community, to be honest with you, because it's so toxic and bottom of the barrel, and all the other EA Sports games be laughing at us. I mean, shit.
And I got one more topic that I wanted to get off my chest. But first, I have a question for Mr. Joe above me.
Sure.
Who is your favorite NHL team?
Sorry.
I've actually been really curious to know that too. So.
Well, no, that's a very good question because I'm glad you asked.
In Alabama, I don't know what they got down there.
We don't. The closest thing is Nashville.
Ooh.
No. This man's from my neck of the woods.
I'm from Pancake's neck of the woods. Like, same hometown, graduated, same school. Sorry, I am a Pittsburgh Penguins fan.
There you go.
It's a better gold team. Actually,
We're not even going to talk about the other two as far as the trio of Pittsburgh.
I just like getting Woofy upset about it.
As soon as I heard Pittsburgh, I stopped listening.
Ooh.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm about 2 hours away from Nashville, so I'm definitely going to hit a Pens Predators game for sure.
Yeah. That's. I wanna. Sorry, my phone keeps going off.
What was gonna be your next question though?
So to lead into that, I was gonna see if you guys wanted to talk about either your thoughts on the prospects for your guys' teams, who you think is gonna be a hit or miss, and then leading into who you guys are thinking are gonna be hot or not this year on your guys' roster.
I am actually down for this.
Yeah,
So,
let me look into
since-
this.
Since we got Joe as the guest, we'll let him start off if he'd like.
Brilliant. Yeah, good idea, dude.
Sorry, I'll be honest. I haven't been following too much in the off season, so I'm not
Okay.
entirely sure what's going on. So shame on me for that.
Oh no, you're good. We're gonna let you do some research on that. We're gonna skip over to Arkham because I think Pancake is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just seeing their
Arkham?
most recent things, but go ahead, Arkham.
Well, Los Angeles is, in my opinion, obviously fully rebuilding, so very obvious for that. And I think I saw a thing where they pretty much, where Todd McClellan, our coach, claims that we're done with the rebuild now, which I don't know if that's true or not. But Kings are definitely in a position to have a very bright future, and I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but I think it was either LA or another team actually was ranked with the best prospect pool in the league, so LA's definitely has a very bright future, if I'm not mistaken. So, Kings, in my opinion, obviously the guys that I'm looking forward to the most coming up is obviously Turcotte, Byfield, and a guy like Madden, like another guy that we got in a trade. But those are probably my main prospects as to who I think coming up will be the most exciting to watch. I mean, is excited for Turcotte. Everybody's excited for Byfield, even if you're a Kings fan or not. Like, I mean, Byfield made history being the highest drafted player of color drafted in the NHL draft, and that was remarkable. I'm glad that he's a King because he's going to be a great, example for a good movement to promote that, hockey's for everyone. It's not just for it's not just for anyone. It's for everybody. Those, in my opinion, those are the guys who I think are probably going to be the prospects that I'm most excited to see come the season. Now, who do I think obviously is going to break out, and who do I think is going to not be so good? I mean, the thing is with the Kings is that they're no doubt still a veteran team, 100%. You have young guys that are good. You've got I have Follow, you've got Kempe, you've got young talent that's still on the team and they're producing 100%. Then you got the veterans like Carter, Brown, Quick, Kopi. Those are the kind of guys that you think of. Obviously, I think Kopi will lead the team in scoring again, 100% this season, if it even happens. No doubt Kopi will have the most points, I think, again. But as far as like who I think will probably break out this season, I would love to see Iafallo or Kempe probably break out. Those are the two guys that I love to watch. Great speed, great perseverance. They contribute. Like Iafallo plays on that top line with Kopi and Brown. Obviously, he gets a lot of experience playing with those two. Those are probably my main guys who I think will break out this year. I would love to see Iafallo have another good season, show why he's still on the team, why he's on that top line, continue to prove himself. I mean, and then another guy that I would love to see do really well also is Lazat. Blake Lazat's one of those young guys that I love to watch as well. And then you also got a guy like Wagner as well. Like some of these guys just getting contract extensions. So those are kind of guys that I would like to see break out.
Brett, you want to go or do you want me to take it?
You know, I feel like you and I both, since we're on the same level here as far as our team, I feel like this would be. I feel like we both could make some comments here for sure, just kind of backing up some certain things. I've noticed. I seen that they made a big trade for Percy Kapanen for Sidney Crosby's line with Jake Gensel. Can't remember how old Kapanen is.
It's like 23.
He's pretty young. I think he's going to be a good tryout for sure as far as trying to find a good pair with that top line. I feel like, I feel like he could bring in definitely some new talent really to the team. I think it's interesting to see somebody elsewhere from the league taking a lead into really just making a difference for that line. I think it's a good throw up for sure. Throws up in the air. See how it goes. I think it would be good.
Adding on to that, looking at a guy like Kapanen, I mean, he played, he got drafted by the Pens way back. And, he did relatively okay for his rookie season. He was only a third-line guy at the time, fourth line maybe here and there, intermittent between the line shufflings. But, for the stats that he put up, he was relatively decent for his rookie season and did better than, a lot of people in scouting reports and stuff said he would. So given that note, whenever he did get shipped off to Toronto and he was playing with guys with the likes of, real top young guns like Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and all these different guys up there, that gave him a lot more experience to play with that top level talent. And I think with him coming back and possibly being on a line with the likes of Sidney Crosby and playing with Evgeny Malkin, guys who have won cups and have had that success and know what it takes to win to that level, I think that's only going to better him. And you can say that about anybody that plays on a line with Sidney Crosby, right? That's like saying, you can put a parking cone out with McDavid and the parking cone will have 40-goal season. So it's the same level of skill there that, he's going to perform if he plays with him. The question is for how long, I think.
Right.
Because you have a young guy like that thrown into a line where, okay, he might have been used to the system 4 to 5 years ago, but now that system has dramatically changed. So time's going to tell with Kapanen. But my big attention has been brought to this this young guy that they have in Pierre-Olivier Joseph. And he's, a 21-year-old defenseman, and we actually acquired him whenever we sent Phil Kessel to Arizona. And I think he's going to be a young piece to our defensive core that's really going to, enhance that, stabilize it. I mean, you have, I don't even know if Jack Johnson's still with us, to be honest, but I think,
He's New York.
thank God, because
He's Rangers.
not to shit on Jack Johnson. However, that man was literally.
You have to shit on Jack Johnson. I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, he's former king, but
I had so much hope for him, and it was just the biggest letdown in the past. And I don't want to say it, but I think CC is going to be the same way.
oh yeah, CC's horrible.
I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to say, okay, he's coming into a different system. Maybe that's all he needs is the switch. But some guys are like that. They're career guys that just stagnant. So I want to say that Joseph's going to be the game changer in our defensive core. And as a young guy, he's going to have time to adjust and get used to it. You have Chris Letang, you have Dumoulin. Once again, guys on the defensive end that have that success. But that's
in the past couple years. Speaking of Chris Letang, I mean, this is just my view on him. Definitely a veteran for sure. He's had his star moments for sure in that defensive line as far as shots from the point, shots from the blue line, top of the crease. I just, at this point, I mean, he's getting older, just like the rest of them are. I feel like the amount of turnovers I've seen during some games that I've gotten to watch, anyways, from the South, because they don't broadcast this stuff down here. It's all college football. But for what I've been able to watch, I just feel like his talent. He's getting older. I feel like it's starting to fall off a little bit.
Well, that happens. I mean, that happens with everybody that gets older. Not everybody can be a Yager and still play until their legs turn to ash.
No.
Not at all.
Try.
But as a defensive talk overall, I still feel like we've got a lot of work to do as far as our defense. It's not perfect by any means, but hopefully with these new additions, for sure, hopefully they can shed some light with the veterans that are on the team, for sure.
As far as sorry, finish your point, Brett.
Oh no, you're good. As far as the defense, we got a lot of work to do. By far, that's my biggest point out of all of that. I mean, besides touching on the Chris Letang thing, just in general, hopefully these new additions will maybe shed some light for us as a team.
The one thing we have to realize as Penguins fans too is it's rapidly approaching the end of the Crosby era. It's getting to the point now where people are going to have to, realize the heartbreak is coming, where Sid's going to go. You already have, Letang looking very aged. And
Letang is injury prone, too. That's a problem with him, too, injuries.
The thing I give him credit for is having that stroke, having the blood clot thing, having all these different things go on with him. And he's still performing to an elite level. At the age that he's at, but you cannot continue that forever. There's gonna come a point where, and you see it with a lot of guys, where their talent is right here, and then all of a sudden, within half a season, it just collapses.
How old? Crosby, he was born in '87.
So you take this into consideration, and you have this collapse for the Penguins. It's going to be a rebuilding process, a whole new revamping of the team. And as good as our farm team has been over the past 10 to 20 years, it's going to take some work, because we're in the business of calling up young guys like Sheary and Lafferty and all these different, guys from Wilkes-Barre. But you can only take that so much and give them so much experience, right? You look at guys like Daniel Sprong, he was a number one draft pick, for Christ's sake. And he played a season with us, intermittent, going up between the A and the N. And now he's flourishing in Anaheim.
Yeah.
So,
I guess on the last point for us, so we can let Wolf have some time here with his good old Preds. I guess one last thing I wanted to touch on the Penguins, I wanted to talk to you guys about, and Derek hopefully get some input on it. Let's talk about our goalie situation.
Oh, yeah.
We got Tristan Jarry, the only one that is setting in place right now, because I'm on the Penguins website just at a few things, and we only have Tristan Jarry on that roster right now.
It's flying over there.
Ours isn't any better.
We
I
traded
have
out.
3 goalies on my roster right now.
Yeah, I mean, we only have one at the moment.
Crazy.
I know we traded away our first contender that took place, Fleury.
But it's usually where
Do you think keeping Tristan Jarry is a good move?
just be careful for rallies.
Listen, at this point, yes. And the reason I say this is because you had this phenomenal tandem in Jory and Murray over the past couple of years, since the departure of Fleury. So you take, even then, you still had the problem, right? You have 2 all-star goaltenders and, a veteran in Fleury who won, so much with them, and then you have this young kid coming in and pretty much stealing 2 cups for you. Sorry, Woofy, not to get hurt any feelings there, but
Good.
you have this kid that wins 2 cups, and you automatically have to go to, well, he's the future, right? He's going to be the new Fleury. He's going to be your new, cornerstone in net, and that's what you want to build your team around. With the departure of Murray, now we're in this weird space where I think it's going to go back to the way it was where Fleury was a young kid, and then we didn't really have a solid backup for him. So I think they're going to go to this kind of half-assed plan of trying to sign maybe these guys who aren't necessarily washed up, but they're near the end of their career. You look at guys like Antti Niemi when we picked him up, and he was just a shit show. You look at these things, and I feel like that's kind of the route they're going to go with. Or they still have DeSmith down in the A. So I think possibly what they might do, instead of trying to sign somebody and take up some more cap, just bring him up and have him as a reliable backup and get him some more NHL experience than he already has, because DeSmith has done well for the Penguins when he has been called up, and I think it's his time to be at least a solid piece of the roster.
As far as Murray's departure, do you find it disappointing having a young guy still 2 cups the way he did, and then just kind of faded out
No,
towards the end here?
I don't get me wrong. I love the guy. I like what he did for us. However, in the back of my head, knew, well, this is a kid who's only really, played in the playoffs. You get him hot in the playoffs, and that's the only time he played. He never had the experience after the Nashville and Pittsburgh series there. The next following season was his first taste of a full NHL season. And I knew that was really going to be the thing that defined him as a starter. And he did well, but not well enough to the point where it's like, oh, okay, this guy can last another, 6-7 years on a contract, and then he'll re-sign, and then you see all these things happen. But it didn't turn out that way, and now he's going to have a new start in Ottawa. So, am I upset about it? I'm a little bit mixed.
Have fun with that one.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to make a trade before the season starts, or when the season does start, they're going to make a trade for a goalie.
Yeah. And
I
Woofy,
feel like they're going to have to.
Woofy's kind of in the same prospect. As much as you love Rinne, you got to look at the facts. The guy is older. He's
36.
He's getting near the end of his career, so you have to look at these things for the future, right? And I think that's what the Penguins are doing as well, where they're like, okay, we have a young guy in Jarry who's seen the experience and had these skills acquired from watching Murray, from watching Fleury for so many years in the system. I think we're going to be okay, but they're, who's to say things with Jarry will work out?
Hey, we're in our rebuilding year for sure, by all means. But just like anything else, kind of like with our star forwards of getting Malkin, Crosby, all good things must come to an end.
Now, real quick, before we let Woofy talk, I think the breakout players for us this particular season, whenever we do have a season, just to wrap this up, I think it's going to be a couple guys. I think Gensel is still going to be Jay Gensel. I think Crosby's still going to be a Crosby. They're going to do what they do. That's talent that's just going to be on the ice. I think the young guys that are really going to make more of an impression than they already have are guys to the likes of Aston Reese, Lafferty. These guys have played with each other in the A for, 2 to 3 seasons or so, maybe longer than that, and they have a pretty good rapport against each other, along with guys in the A, or in the N rather. And I think those two particularly, along with Shiri coming back, Shiri's back with us now. I think Shiri's going to be a pretty good piece for the mix too.
Just a quick note on Lafferty. I just noticed he's from Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Little close to home for us.
Hometown kid. Yep. He's only about what is that? That's about 45-minute drive from me.
Yeah, he's as old as I am, 95.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing to see.
94.
93, baby.
95.
Wolfie's turn.
95. All right, Wolf, let's go.
All right, so a few guys that I'm excited about in my farm system, and hopefully some of these guys get to crack the NHL roster this year, is Ely Tolvanen. Talked about him last podcast a lot. The one guy I really didn't get to talk a whole lot about was Rem Pitlick. That kid, he made his debut last year, I believe. And, I mean, obviously, if you're making your debut for a game or two, it's not a lot of time to show off what you can do. So he's been killing it down in Milwaukee. Tolvanen, he's really picked up his game. See, he was more used to the KHL size rinks, so it just took him a little bit of time to get used to the North American rinks. But now that he's got his feet under him, I would say he's going to crack our roster. And then, bringing up what you were talking about earlier with Rene getting as old as he is, we obviously drafted Askarov in the first round. He's definitely going to be our future in net. I don't see Saros lasting too long in net. I mean, I love the guy to death. He's done a pretty good job, but I just don't see him lasting as in a full season, considering that between him and Rene, they were always alternating.
Right. That's all.
With the exception of toward the end of last season, they
Back.
stuck with Saros a lot. And then
You're gonna sit on me and think.
a few other guys that I'm really excited about is Alexander Carrier. He's been in the system for a while. I want to say 23, 24. I'm really looking forward to him cracking that roster. Philip Tomasino, that kid he's gonna be the next Forsberg. I'm calling it. You mark my fucking words right now. He's gonna be the next Forsberg. Calling it. And that's really the only guys I'm really excited about right now. I haven't really paid too much attention to the others. So I'll just go straight into who I'm ready to break out this year. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm a Johansson fan. We all know this. I'm tired of seeing him season after season just not perform like we all know he can. He needs to kick it in gear if he wants to keep getting them paychecks that he signed that 8-year deal for sure, because he's not producing up to that caliber.
What was
Really
the
upset that
figures on that deal, by the way? Not to interrupt, but
Yeah, I'm curious to know that.
I can look it up. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, definitely one of those guys I would love to see step up. Oh, damn.
I didn't mean to slow all momentum there, but just
He signed a $64 million deal. $8 million a year.
Jesus.
Yeah, definitely not playing up to $8 million worth. So,
Oh, he is healed.
but getting rid of a guy like Nick Bonino, that's obviously going to get rid of a big physical presence in front of.
I
So
haven't heard about Benino in a hot minute.
yeah, he was. Some of the chat disagreed with me last time that Bonino was a very, very big key in our offense the past few years. Think what they want. The dude did what he had to do. He was getting in the dirty areas, getting those greasy goals, fighting in the corner. So I'm kind of glad to see him bring in a guy like Luke Kunin and Brad Richardson. Brad Richardson is going to be, I would say, Bonino's carbon copy, but not as much of a carbon copy.
He was good in LA and Arizona. for
Yeah.
Richard. Very good, like, centerman, second liner, third liner. He's good for that.
You know what the bad part is? He's the one that scored the goal that got us eliminated last year. So I guess it's a bittersweet moment.
Oh, it was the same thing with us, and I can't remember what year it was, but it was Vegas first season, and we got swept by him, and it goes who scores the game-winning goal. Braden McNabb took him from the expansion draft. It was bittersweet.
Speaking of Vegas, I'm ready to see Nick Cousins play for us. I'm really excited to see what he can do to this lineup. I don't know which line he's gonna be on, because I know the first two lines. I like the Jofa line, but I don't want to see the Jofa line because they're so inconsistent. I want to see maybe like a Johansson, Yarncroke, and Arvidsson line, and then a Duchesne, Forsberg. Kunin line. I'll throw him up there. Probably not what it's gonna be.
Dude, I've
Then
so long.
I want to see
Yeah,
Brad Richardson on the third line. I definitely want to see him on the third line. Throw Grimaldi and maybe Sissons on the wing. Sissons is a good center though, so I'm not sure how this lineup's gonna look.
Don't have damage.
Yeah.
But,
Ooh. I have something for after we're done with this then.
Yeah, I was thinking of something too, but
I have a topic too.
I will wrap mine up here then.
Great. Now Ezreal's gonna have.
Defensive wise, I know that's what Nashville is pretty well known for, is their defensive lineup, and I am confident enough to say even if somebody goes down, whether it's Yossi, Ellis, or Ekholm, one of those guys, we can easily call up Alexander Carrier or Donovan Mitchell. But then again, we also still have Jared Tenorti on the healthy scratch list. So Borowiecki and Benning are definitely going to bolster that defensive core up a lot.
Did they go to the minions?
So whoever's ready for that next topic, go for it. I'm done.
Mine was just going to be a quick one because we're already going to reiterate. We had Richie on Facebook go and ask, so going back to Seattle's hockey team, being that Seattle lost the Sonics back in the day, do we think that the Kraken will last in Seattle, or are they going to implode? I think
They'll stay.
I think they're going to stay. I don't think they're going to put all this effort into a team and bring them in and then just have it collapse. I mean,
Seattle's a great city for hockey.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's great that they have a team there now. Honestly,
I do too.
think they stay.
At first I was
I
skeptical.
think it'll turn into
But-
a money pit, honestly, for them.
Yep.
My topic's really brief too. Mine's just short and sweet. Like our three teams: Pittsburgh, LA, Nashville. Where do we predict they'll finish next season? Plain and simple.
Are we talking the entire league or are we talking division?
We're
New
talking-
divisions?
I'd say probably division. Yeah.
Obviously, we all want to say that they're all going to finish first.
I
Not
do,
the
but realistically,
Sorry
that's
to
not going to
burst.
happen. I think Pittsburgh's going to finish either second or third.
I think we're gonna
Yeah,
get.
that's where I'm thinking Nashville's going to finish because
Top five. if
We're either gonna
anything.
get last or second last. I think in Pacific.
Yeah.
we're adding Tampa and a few other teams to our division. So Tampa's taking first in ours. Colorado, I think Colorado's still in ours. They're going to finish second. It's going to be a close call with those two guys, or teams, I should say. And I want to say we're either going to finish third or fourth. That is if my team can get their heads out of their asses and do something on offense, because it's not been there.
That's kind of our issue as Penguins, too. I mean, every team has injury spouts, right? But it seems like the Penguins always have these injuries that, are always battering to our roster. And, that's why we use our farm system so much. And, I mean, it's good in a way because they do get experience, but at the same time, your roster is never at full capacity. So I think if we can avoid the injury bug, and we say it every season, if we can avoid it, we're going to be fine, but we never can. So I think if we hold that off for as long as we can and have a good run through X amount of games and stuff like that going into playoffs, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. I have a good question from my chat. We can probably take a stab at it real quick. Obviously, AJ's back and has more questions for us. We gotta love him. He has a very good question that I'm not sure if. I mean, I'm sure I could at least take a stab at it, but I'm sure you guys can too. But Vancouver, the Canucks, are they better or worse off after this offseason? That's kind of a. I don't know if anybody could really say much about that one.
I'm gonna say they're probably
I would say they're better.
net wise. They're worse off in net. Offensively, I would say they're better off.
Yeah. I think if they can figure out their goaltending, they're going to be stout. I mean, they were already a threat last season. You could see it from their offensive prowess and stuff like that on the power play. Teams didn't really like playing against them on the power play, which is a big statement for them because you couldn't have said that, in a long time, even whenever they had the Sedins. I mean, because the Sedins had no help with them. So for a long time, they were kind of lacking in that department. I think now, given that the youth that they have, if they can figure out certain things on defense and their goaltending, I think they're in a real good position to be not only a team that make it into the playoffs, but maybe a contender. So only time's going to tell on that though, and the moves that they make.
They should have fought a little harder to keep Markstrom in Vancouver. That dude was lights out last year for him. No way I would be letting that dude walk.
He's in Calgary
Not
now.
a chance. Yeah, not a chance I'm letting him walk, but it's kind of late for that now.
So he believes the team is worse off, to be honest. He thinks that they're going to go out in round one. He took a step back this year, but future-wise, they're really set. Markstrom wanted a no-movement clause, though, and you cannot risk losing Demko.
I mean, if looking at how he's played the past few seasons, I would go out on a limb and give it to him. As good as he was, I mean, granted he went through an injury.
Listen, here's the thing with the Canucks, though. I mean, for a long time, they have been this team that, has had success streaks of it, and then it would dissipate for years and years, and then another little flash. But I think now, regardless of those issues that they are having, those are minimal compared to what they have set for the future. And, that's all up to upper office now, on what they want to do with it. But, you look at Toronto. Toronto put themselves in the position to get these young guys to have success, and they are imploding on the inside. The best thing Vancouver can do is watch this and learn from it. And then,
For sure. Do the opposite.
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
The best core of players the Canucks have ever had.
The best contract I could have given Markstrom. I'm not sure on payout wise, but length wise, if he's wanting a no move clause, I'm thinking give him a 3-4 year. Unless he's wanting an 8 year, then yeah, I would have let him walk. But I would try a 3-4 year no move clause.
3-4 years, that's enough time to build a team around him and, keep your core guys there and maybe win a cup under him.
Yeah, now he's in Calgary now, so it's kind of the unfortunate thing. A lot of Vancouver players went to Calgary. I think at least 3-4 guys went to Calgary.
Here's the thing, they do have Holtby, but man,
Holtby's not the same as he was.
No, he's staying 1 year and he's gone, I guarantee you.
Yep, he was just looking for a contract this year. He's gonna try to play it out as best as he can, do the best that he can, and see where he lands next year and try to get a lengthier contract other than just 1 year, maybe 3.
Seattle will probably take him 100%. I don't think Vancouver will protect him.
no.
I don't. It's gonna be a Fleury situation, essentially, in my opinion. You take a veteran goaltender who has cup experience, who's won a Stanley Cup. You're gonna put him with a bunch of young guys or maybe some veterans on a new team. So I'd see that Holtby's gonna end up just like Fleury did.
Here's a question. I completely forgot that the Blues traded Jake Allen to Montreal. So who is Bennington's backup now?
Well, I have no idea.
Well, I don't know who is his backup.
Because before, I'm talking a few years ago, it was Phoenix Copley, and then they sent him to Washington.
He said Husso. It just says
Husso? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It is Husso.
He's dog shit.
Not fair.
Well, I guess as a last topic, quick, that I wanted to mention, 'cause I'm sure we're all ready.
Do some ranked duos.
How about a little bit of nostalgia here?
What?
I love nostalgia.
The man, the myth, the legend, 50-year career of announcing hockey games, Doc Emmerich.
Now
Let
we're
me
talking.
tell you, he called all three of Pittsburgh's cups, 16, 17, and 2009. How about a man that he just finally followed retirement at the age of 74, and such an impact on the game that we all love?
We're not going to see another guy like that for a long, long time.
No, hell no. There's still plenty of good people in the NBCSN like team. There's great guys on that team, but they're not going to be the same or caliber that Emmerich was. There's no
Except
way.
for Mellenby.
Yeah, right. They have a good staff still. They have great guys that do great commentary in the playoffs, but yeah, it's not gonna be the same. In my opinion, it's like back to like Chell, where it's like it was Doc and Eddie. Those were like the best like pair of commentators for it. I mean, you got two great voices right there. It's definitely unfortunate to say the least, because I'm so used to hearing Doc Emmerich's voice in the playoffs.
I'm gonna go off topic here a little bit, but does anybody else notice that NBC is going more toward female announcers now?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with it, but
You
I'm
brought
so used. I like hearing the same guys that like called it the year before for whatever team. I like the diversity that they're going with adding in females because
brought in
that's
Kendall.
what the game needs, honestly. But
Yeah, they brought in Kendall Coyne, and she's pretty cool.
yeah, she's done pretty good.
I like her a lot, truthfully.
Well, that you can take that as the same debate as they're having in the NFL now, because the 49ers have that offensive coordinator now. What's her name?
I forgot her
Ashley
name, but
something,
yeah.
I think.
She is a beast, dude.
She is a beast, and she knows her shit. So all these people that you see them bitching about it, like obviously saying misogynistic shit about it, like those people have no place to even comment, because she would fuck them up. So
I think it's great because they're women are getting more involved in sports.
oh hell yeah, I'm on board with it.
I think it's great, honestly.
And I'll say, I mean, as far as Doc's past, I guess just another nostalgia thing for us Penguins fans is the era of Mike Lang.
Yeah.
Nobody called the Penguins games like Mike Lang did.
I think you talk about some of the greatest commentators that have ever voiced the game. Mike Lang is, he's timeless. He's you hear the call for Miracle on Ice, obviously Lake Placid. That's the kind of things you think about when you hear that kind of thing.
This guy's trying to.
When you
I
hear
can't speak for the other teams that have great commentators, I'm
Right.
sure, but Mike Lang, you can't replace that.
no, when you hear Elvis has left the building, you automatically go, oh, that's a Pittsburgh Penguin thing. And people who don't even know anything about the Penguins know that, oh, well, that's just, that's from their hockey team.
Yeah, even I know that, and I'm not a Penguins fan.
Yeah. It's just, it's part of the game that's been ingrained over X amount of years, and Doc had that effect to such a magnitude,
Such a
that
impact.
Because he started with NBC as their lead commentator in 2006?
I think so.
I want to say.
I just
Somewhere around there, yeah. I want to say like 05, 06.
come up.
Either way, that's
Who might text me?
a long time.
Yeah. It's funny because you not to get off topic here, but a lot of people, whenever I mention the Lake Placid game in that was 1980, people never realize that was actually Al Michaels, and they think, oh well, you say Al Michaels, that's the guy who does Sunday Night Football and this and that. It's like, yeah, but he originally started covering hockey games, stuff like that. He actually did a whole different sport than people know him for now, because now it's to the same token where everybody knows him for football, just like everybody knew Doc for the NHL. So
I like how Joe Buck is now.
exactly, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I just
I hate
felt
Joe
like,
Buck with a passion.
I just felt like that was a good topic to end on there. You can't replace greatness by any
You
means.
can't replace Doc. No way.
Well, to that notion, then, I think we're gonna open it up for more Q&A here. We've kind of been doing it for a while, but if anybody has any last questions, anything that they want us to cover before we cut it, let us know.
Yeah, if
Make
anybody,
him I'm tired. I'm just kidding.
has in my stream has any questions, yeah, I got like 8, 10 people in here. Yeah, if any of you guys have any questions, yeah, by all means, put them in chat.
The only people I got is the dog behind me to ask, so.
AJ, I'm sure you've got questions.
Woof
Yeah, you
woof.
get more than I do.
Here
What's
we go.
up?
He's already on it. Here we go. What country do you feel is growing the best as a hockey nation?
Good question.
I'm curious as or like World Juniors or like producing players,
Yeah, what do we?
or is this question going over my head? 'Cause I'm pretty dumb sometimes.
Producing players.
Producing players.
I think it's producing. Yeah.
I think the Finns are doing pretty well.
I was gonna say Finland, Sweden.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Denmark.
I was gonna say
Usually
probably
like that.
Norwegian states up there. I'd probably have to say
Possibly
like
Denmark.
Sweden or Finland.
Slovakia.
Slovaks are doing pretty well too, and getting popularity over there. You also have to take into account the U.S. I mean, the U.S. has a lot of, well-established hockey communities.
We got some good prospects from the U.S. that could possibly go far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's obviously a bias because of where we are and everything like that.
I mean,
but
that's just a homegrown thing, I guess.
I got a ranking here if you guys want to hear it.
yeah, go for it.
All right, so obviously number 1 is gonna be Canada.
Yeah.
2nd is Russia. 3 is Sweden. 4 is Finland. 5 is the United States. 6 is Slovakia. 7 Czech Republic, and 8 Switzerland.
Oh my.
I forgot about Switzerland.
Yeah, I forgot about Switzerland too.
Oh, number 9 Germany, and 10 Latvia.
Germany, really?
Latvia.
Latvia's an interesting one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You don't hear too many crowds coming out of
Yeah. Not at all.
yeah.
Not at all.
I feel like the Czechs produce a lot of good players, but not
Is
according to the
Croatia still a thing as far as pushing out players?
Is Croatia up there?
list. They didn't crack that list.
Much love to the Germans, though. I don't mean to use the sauerkraut word in a bad way.
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Anything else?
Any other
Biggest
questions?
sleeper team for the Olympics.
AJ, any other questions?
Biggest sleeper team?
Yeah, there
Yep.
you go.
I'd always have to say, people always overlook Finland a lot of the times. For some reason, teams like, them, Slovakia, all these things. I gotta say, a team like, the Swiss. The Swiss are always, fun games to watch. They usually suck, but, I'm not a betting man. If I was gonna put my money on anybody, I'd probably say the Finns.
Yeah, Finland's probably my bet too.
Actually, a better question is it time for the Olympics already this year?
It's getting there.
Is it?
When was the last Winter Olympics?
I can't remember.
Wasn't
It's 2022.
it in Sochi or whatever?
2022 it is. The Germany will be a
They
big
do
sleeper
it every
team.
2 years, but every 4 years it's like the winner.
Yeah, 2022
Yeah.
Winter Olympics is February the 4th.
February 4th. Oh wow, so just over a year now.
And it'll end on February 20th.
Yeah, China's gonna have a team.
2022.
China's not gonna even know how to skate.
We'll try to even score a goal even.
Hey, now they're gonna come busting your door down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Better
If you
start
hear somebody
barricading.
knocking at your door, you better start running.
Yeah, you better barricade. Fucking hell, that's gonna be bad. I don't know. Well, they're up to the task, man. It's gonna be a tough road for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have the best teams in the world coming in to literally whoop their silly ass at hockey. So it's gonna be interesting.
The only chance is Germany, says AJ. Germany's, yeah.
Well, boys, is that a wrap or?
Any more questions?
Yeah. Do we have anything else? I don't think I have anything on my end.
Any other questions in my chat? Anybody want more questions before we say goodnight?
Going once, going twice. You guys are too late. All right, let's do this thing.
All right. So
boys.
once again, this. Go ahead, Brett.
COVID safe. Wash your hands. Blow your nose.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, y'all stay safe out there, including
Brad
the
Marchand
viewers.
each other, lick each other.
Alright. We did get one more. So Shane Wright though got cut. Any words on that?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't even know what the fuck that is, to be honest with you, AJ. Explain, please.
Yeah, I'll stick around for the answer, but I have no idea who that is.
Like Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
Like
You kid.
Oh, once again, that's as far as like prospects and stuff, I haven't focused anything on really Canada's development.
The next generational player, so he says.
You see, you hear stuff about that all the time. Whatever happened to Nail Yakupov? You know, it's hard to tell.
He went back. He ran back to the KHL.
Hmm.
What a bust.
I haven't been following.
Not
the
to
prospects
shit on
around.
your opinion. That's not what I'm doing here. But you know, it's hard to tell who actually is the next generational player and who isn't. McDavid was a given. Crosby was a given. Ovechkin was a given. But you know, you have these things, and you never know.
Matt, do you know who was the #1 draft pick for the Blues over Jonathan Taves? Eric Johnson. #1 overall.
Eric Johnson.
Yep.
That's a yuck for me.
I remember he scored an own goal once.
All right.
that was funny.
With that being said, once again, I'm Sneaky Pancake. You can follow me, subscribe on YouTube to the Open Ice Podcast and all that. Once again, above me, Arkham's Finest. Follow him. Subscribe to him on Twitch. Lone Wolf over here to my right. Once again, follow, subscribe, or I'll find you. Okay?
And murder you.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
I said it. Lone Wolf said it. I will do it.
But, and again, Brett, of course, my good friend, my buddy, my pal, my amigo. Thank you for joining
Appreciate
us.
Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep.
Hit me up next time. I'll be
Yeah,
here.
we'd love to have you guys on.
Always. Always, always, always. All right, gentlemen.
Bye, chats.
Bye.
See you later.